Good evening, preppers. Far and wide, Arkansas borders within the borders. Tonight we're discussing military and law enforcement training and prepping. Those of you that have been members of the military or law enforcement, you have a unique perspective compared to others who have not. You have had training for life saving, you have had training on escalation of force, where civilians have not, by and large. Anytime you put yourself out there to save a life or to take one, that's going to come down to your training as muscle memory. Civilians, generally, by and large, anytime they've had to take life, it's been a deer or some other animal on the other end of that scope. Hunt for food, that's great for survival aspect, but training to move as a unit, as a team, also how to properly apply medical techniques in the field, that always comes in handy. And while medical training you can get just about anywhere, there are types of training in the military that are given, what we used to call combat lifesavers, medics, that are also trained in medical ways that are improvised. Sometimes it's going to take grabbing an oily rag and stuffing a hole that's bleeding. That can save your life. Uh, those in the military were trained to follow orders without question. Granted, some of us questioned quite a bit, and that's not always a good thing. Civilians don't have that. Where is the benefit to? Hi Tank, nice to see you. Radio Oklahoma, got some seeds ordered. Nice. The I lost my train of thought. Those that have not trained to take orders usually have a better aspect of thinking outside the box than those that are military trained. Usually, not always. Those that have been in law enforcement, they they also work as a team, as a brotherhood, sisterhood, where they have each other's backs and they're there to protect. Military is also there to protect, but from a different perspective, a bigger picture, so to speak. When we have all of these combinations of people who have been trained versus who have trained themselves, whose method is better? I say neither. But combining those, you have a winning combination. You have the perfect formula. You have those that have had training from a standardized method, and you have those that have come up with new ideas on their own. What is the quote? Uh, Need brings innovation. In prepping, we're constantly innovating, constantly testing that electric fence, finding new ways to accomplish more with less. Anybody want to jump on here? We have any previous service? Let's see. It would help if I had everything open. Give me just a moment, folks. You know me, I'm just a pro at this. I'm just a pro at this. Yeah, see? NWA Preppers, great to see you. The training means a lot. Radio Oklahoma, yes, you're right. I do not have one. I probably should get one. I am radio dumb. The training, the medical training especially, there may not be hospitals, which is another point I'll get to here in a minute. There may not be hospitals in a shift scenario, but you can save a life long enough to find someone in your network, in your tribe, or in a neighboring tribe, family group, that has medical experience that could potentially save a life. Antibiotics are not always needed, they help a ton, but humans have been around for centuries before antibiotics. Just a thought. Maybe there's more to it. The one thing that military and law enforcement both have with their training, they have a dedicated supply chain. Civilians, not always. And in a shift scenario, that is increasingly dwindling supplies. Knowing how to properly apply techniques and use as little as possible on a finite supply, that is where you find your winning combination. Good evening, Prepping in Progress. How are you? Having everything together, both military, law enforcement, civilian, it takes everyone. It takes a team, it takes a network. Without that, you might as well just be bushing it out on your own with a rifle and MREs. Anybody want to jump on here? I agree, Muffin Man. Medical training should be close to the top of the list. I'll just throw this up here. There you go. Medical training is how you save lives. It's how you keep people healthy. Trust me, in a shift situation, you're probably going to get your exercise already. It's just going to be part of it. If you have only stockpiled a certain amount of food, you're probably going to be rationing that food. If you have a homestead, you're probably still going to be rationing because you know the output of your animals and your garden, things like that. Let's see. But where the military training comes in on that aspect, you're protected while you have your homestead. Those that have been prepping have the best of both worlds, but those that have not can still protect you, and they know how to run teams, they know fields of fire. Hi, Lynn, how are you?
Is it your guy talk?
Muffin Man, you're on.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Well, I think that medical training and rationing are definitely things that the military teaches that is definitely important in a prepper type scenario. And you're right. You do need to ration even if you're homesteading or say even if it's not a shift scenario and some great natural disaster happens, and interrupts supply chain. You need to ration then too. And knowing what everybody needs as far as your daily intake and output, not just with your animals, but even with the people involved, is important. Knowing what it takes to keep everybody running, not just survival, but running. I mean, we may be talking about long term. It may be a little while before supply chains are back up and running, if ever, depending on the situation. But I think with medical training, having alternative means to achieve the same result is important. Take for example, there's some equipment that I know how to use, but what happens if I don't have that equipment? What happens if I don't have, say, a cat tourniquet, or I don't have a Kendrick device, or I don't have a traction device or something like that? How can we achieve the same result without that equipment? We always need alternative methods.
Mm-hmm. And those that are more adaptable or MacGyver-ish, they would turn to a belt in case of a tourniquet or another strong piece of cloth. There are so many ways to skin the cat, but more times than not, it seems like military is taught one way, law enforcement is taught a slightly different way, and everyone else innovates.
Yeah, I find that to be predominantly true as well. Even when we were on the ambulance, there was times when there were different schools of thought available, just depending on the situation. But really, adaptability is what overcame in no matter the situation, is your ability to kind of roll with the punches, because absolutely every situation is different, and absolutely every live fire situation, if you'll forgive the expression, was different than your training scenario. So yeah, knowing what to do in those times or in those scenarios is great, but be willing to roll and able to roll with the punches.
That's the way to do it. Always have plan A, B, C, and think outside the box.
And know that you're probably going to end up on plan F for
Yeah.
actuality.
I hope plan F is never used, because that means we're, never mind.
That's why it's
Anyway,
plan F.
yeah. So on the law enforcement aspect, generally they are not taught things near the same way military is.
Mm-hmm.
There are practice with firearms, of course. It's mostly about procedure in how to approach people. And while both military and law enforcement have levels of force, there's more scrutiny on law enforcement, especially these days, on how they apply those levels of force and
Right.
how it is escalated. Military has a little bit more free range, but since I've been out, I understand over in the sandbox that it became more like the way law enforcement is now, on having to get permission to return fire if you're fired upon, things like that.
I mean, that's the mindset changed from waging war to keeping peace.
It's understandable.
I'm not saying that I've got experience in that field of service either, but the different mindsets is what leads to the different regulations and things, from my understanding.
Well, in a shift scenario, how many regulations are there going to be?
None. I think we can dial that down to what are you comfortable with, or what is your where do your principles lie? Where are you drawing the line?
On an individual basis, yes, but
Correct.
say you're a member of a group that has a certain SOP, or, you know,
I would hope that the group had an SOP.
absolutely. And putting those rules in contention can cause more issues within the community.
Right. Well, and then punishments are a lot harder too, because you're not just talking about, oh, well, you can just go spend a couple of months or so in jail, because you don't have the resources for that, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, things are gonna be a little bit different. You probably may be looking at more expulsion from the group, or temporary banishment, something like that as a punishment, instead of, oh, he's just gonna go to jail, or he's gonna get a fine, you know.
Right. Or extra labor.
Right.
things of that nature. Hopefully so, Tank. Group regulations should be, in my opinion, they should be agreed upon before joining and not changed otherwise without an agreement with all of the heads, whether it be heads of households or just family heads, things like that. No, everyone probably doesn't know what SOP means. Standard operating procedure. Thank you for pointing that out. It's become second nature that it took me a second to even think of what it stood for.
Yeah. Jargon is another thing that kind of needs to be broken down, I guess.
It does.
More
And
so than
there's so
just
many
nonsense.
new acronyms that I'm not even familiar with.
Yeah. Me too, man. And I'm a millennial. We made acronyms.
Have a great night, NWA. It's great seeing you. By the way, everyone, NWA has put a challenge out on his channel. If somebody can find that, basically
I know it's
it
in our
is.
Discord.
What was it? It was how you are improving your preps. That's his summer challenge. I encourage everyone to jump on and give that a shot. It's always fun to see how everybody comes up with new ways of prepping.
Well, I find that to be an interesting challenge too, because it doesn't just call you to share what you're doing. It calls those who want to be involved in the challenge and are not yet preparing to prepare a little bit more. You know, to have a little bit more intentionality with what they're doing.
Practice makes perfect, Lone Wolf. I mean, it always has, always will. There are things I'm rusty on that I need to practice more with. Most of it is communication like this. I type. I am not a speaker. I know this will be the third stream I've said that in, but it's true in every case.
Well, I mean, that kind of goes back to anything else. You know, your skill set may be a little bit different than mine, um, or mine may be a little different from Tank's, but we're all kind of necessary in this environment and this mindset of building community and building something that's going to last. You know, because really what we're talking about is as prep is not, hey, I'm preparing for the absolute worst because I'm a cynic. That's not what we're talking about at all in being preppers. What we're talking about is building a community and a lifestyle, friendships, a family unit that will stand the test of time no matter what comes.
And it can be anything from as small as I lost my job this week
Right.
to and have another one in 2 to 3 weeks, especially with as many jobs are available now. But
Right. Or even my car broke down. I mean,
exactly, car broke down. I need to find a way to. I need to have a backup plan. Planning is prepping also.
right. But it goes all the way from those micro preps to, you know, what if our entire society does collapse and Walmart's not around on anymore?
In
Or I guess
some ways,
in
that
this
could be
day
an
and age,
improvement.
yeah, in this day and age, Walmart is nearly too expensive to be implemented, you know. So
Julie actually makes a good point as well. Especially in small towns, you know how everyone behaves
right,
as an officer, especially a patrol officer that sees everyone day in, day out. Larger towns, that may not necessarily be the case, but you still get a sense of everyone's feeling, how everyone is behaving, acting. And it almost becomes a sixth sense. You can tell when something is wrong. If
right,
someone has died in town, you're going to see the whole town, at least in that area, change. You'll see more traffic to a certain house. Is this a drug dealer or did something happen? You know,
Right.
it's being
Well, if
able
there's
to
30
be
people parked in the parking lot with a casserole, it's not a drug deal.
aware. Exactly. It's you develop that sixth sense, and knowing your community, knowing how everyone behaves, how everyone interacts, that can be a telltale sign of strife or of injury, anything like that. Uh, Another group I'm in, someone became sick, and everyone's behavior changed because
Right.
everyone looks up to this person with respect, rightfully so. And you can tell everyone's demeanor just because of one incident. Situational awareness applies everywhere. Doesn't
Right.
matter who you are.
Or what the situation is, really. Not being aware of what's going on around you is absolute ignorance. Well, I think we go beyond ignorance. That's stupidity because it's not your lack of knowledge, it's your refusal to learn.
Yes. And accept what's around you.
Yeah.
That's a separate discussion also that's not part of this, but it was in a discussion earlier. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, and then the other thing, I mean, we talked about medical standpoint a little bit, and I've got a few years of EMS under my belt and some anti-terrorism with a paramilitary organization. And as far as first aid goes, it's life over limb. So there's a lot of times when something might look bad, or like say somebody's leg is broken and the bone is sticking through their leg. All right, that's a break with or it's an open fracture is what it is. So the bone is sticking through their leg. Now that may not necessarily be a life threat. While say you pulled up on the scene of an accident and it's a car wreck, and their leg is broken, bone sticking out, and things like that. That's not necessarily a life threat. While the car that they're in might be. Say the car's on fire or something like that. You're going to move that person before you stabilize their leg. And you say, well, what if they lose their leg, or what if such and such happens? Well, the first item of concern is that burning car, and you've got to take life over limb all the time. And that's where tourniquets come in too. Is hey, if this is going to be on there for 4 or 5 hours, that limb is not going to be viable anymore. They're going to lose their arm or leg or whatever it is.
Unless
Um,
you can keep it cold.
right. And honestly, in a shift scenario, and it's not wintertime, that may not be an option. But they're going to live is the point. They might lose a limb or whatever, but they're going to live, and their life matters enough for us to intervene. And we've got to decide what level of intervention we're willing to give, and we've got to triage from the most important thing first to the least important.
And that same practice applies to prepping and just about everything else.
Right.
Uh,
And I like the rule of threes for prepping and everything else. I don't know if you know what the rule of threes is.
Enlighten us.
You can survive for 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter, 3 days without water, and 3 months without food.
3 hours without shelter?
Yeah, in a say you're in the desert or you're in the Arctic or something like that, an extreme environment, it's 3 hours without shelter.
Okay.
Anyway, that's the rule of threes. Some people stretch here and there. Like I'm less than 3 minutes without air. I'm an asthmatic with some lung problems, so I'm less than 3 minutes without air. You might be 10. I don't know. You might be a diver or something, but you can pretty much go as that's the basis for the rule of threes. It kind of gives you the order of importance as far as what you need to be prepared for is, air, shelter, water, food, and then sustainability after that.
Understandable. Tank, what are we disagreeing on?
He always disagrees with me.
Grab a mic. Come on up.
Yeah, I want to hear your voice disagree with me, Tank.
Oh, come on. All right. The the rule of threes, I have doubts on the 3 hours without shelter.
Okay.
Time with TQ. What is
He
that?
disagrees with my tourniquet time. I said 4 or 5 hours, you're probably going to lose the limb. He thinks it's more. And that's entirely situational too.
Possibly. There again, if you can keep the limb cold on a tourniquet, and I've
Well, I mean, there's a practice to it. I think it's 45 minutes or so, you're supposed to let off for a couple of seconds so that it can get blood flow and then tighten it back down. Is probably where he's going with that, is you can extend that time to, I think it's a day, maybe 2.
okay.
But most people aren't going to have that kind of knowledge or training under their belt, even with a first aid class.
Right. And in a shift scenario, it's probably less because of the situation you'll be in if you have a compound fracture of that nature.
Right.
Um, I keep thinking back to, you can actually be dead for 4 or 5 hours in some situations and revived
Yeah,
if in a
extreme cold
hypothermic,
situations.
yeah, hypothermic state. That's one thing they taught us in school, and it blew me away to even think that somebody could be frozen for 5 hours and brought back.
Yep.
Not really frozen, but
Oh, it's pretty
close.
close. As long as you got viable brain tissue, you're fine. But you're going to lose fingers.
Right.
Is he still disagreeing? I can't see the comments.
He was saying yes more.
Oh, yeah.
And no, Julie, yeah, you never want to open a tourniquet. I don't know about the vein shrinking up and bleeding out inside, but I could see it as rupturing, because you're putting a lot of strain, and a vein is very elastic.
Right.
And the tourniquet actually is going to be damaging some of those, and I could see where it would possibly rupture veins.
Well, that's why
And
we weren't taught to do it on the ambulance, and that's left up to doctors as far as when to allow a little bit more bleed. Is there's a risk management there too? Is hey, a couple of veins might burst or what have you, but we can save the majority of this limb if we let off for a few seconds and then tighten it back up. The advice given here is definitely not advice to do. It's just possibilities. Um, but no, I wouldn't ever let a tourniquet off if I put one on, and that's just out of training.
right, same here. Radio Oklahoma. Thing radio, which, yeah, like I said, I'm radio dumb. Tank, he's going to run away now because I mentioned him. He's kind of our uh, the person we talk to the most on radios lately,
Well, he's
and
really knowledgeable too.
he's very knowledgeable. And we also have another friend that also does with the can-tams, things like that. Bearfac.
Was that
Bearfac.
a bear
FAK.
pack? Well, usually FAK is first aid kit, but I've never heard bear fac. Because IFAC is individual first aid kit. I'm gonna have to get an explanation on bear fac. Maybe some kind of a BLS emergency response first aid kit. I don't know.
I swear these acronyms. Uh, Scrambled frequencies. If I understand correctly, that is trunk trackers, and it is an encrypted deal, but you can actually get a radio program to to listen to that as well.
Well, you got to
Oh,
be
I
careful
see
on what you're
Radiocom.
broadcasting on too.
True. I mean, right now FCC would slap your hand.
Make you do extra labor.
Yeah. But in
Um,
a shift scenario, police radios would be pretty handy,
yeah,
especially if we have any law enforcement preppers out there, because the repeaters are already set up. They already have the encryption with them, for lack of a better term.
well, no, we use a couple of different channels here, between the Arkansas Traumacom, and then AWIN, and then there's even about 3 local channels that we use for radio communications as well. That in a law enforcement and EMS perspective, and really any one of those would be handy, because not only would you know what was going on, it'd almost be a news source at that point, but you'd have the ability to contact somebody at a higher level of law enforcement or something like that, intervention if you needed it, you know. But those aren't open to the public.
Unless it's an emergency, apparently.
Yeah, but you got to have access to that.
Sure, there are
Oh
plenty
yeah,
of friends out there.
oh yeah, and that's under maritime law that you can use any radio and any frequency for emergency communication. That's pretty much global.
Good.
But it's not like flat tire. It's got to be a serious emergency. That probably goes without saying.
So, what frequency range would that be, Tank? You said most are moving to something Baofeng can't do. Is it just a matter of encryption at that point? Wow, I need sleep. I couldn't understand FAK, but I understand IFAK and AFAK.
Right. Individual and advanced first aid kits.
Right. Mine's an RAFK.
An RAF or RFAK?
Yeah, what I say?
All right. So what is the
RIFAK.
Rafiki for?
It's the redneck version. Actually, it's right here.
Mine's a little bit smaller than that. Oh, the other thing is with your first aid kits, guys, you should know that your tape is only good for so long. Everybody likes to pack their first aid kit with medical tape, but you should know that the adhesive on that breaks down over a couple of years. So you're going to need to cycle your tape or it won't stick anymore.
There are options to tape as well.
Yeah, staples work great.
Just get the staple gun out.
Yeah. And then getting handy with sutures is nice. You can pick up a basic suture practice kit for like $10 on Amazon, and then practice with it comes with the needles to practice with, and then use any thread to practice. Just kind of make sure. Then as far as sutures go, dental floss works great in a pinch. Fishing line works great in a pinch. Stuff like that.
Horsetail hair.
Yeah, horsehair works great. There's a bunch of options out there, but you need to practice with kits and get comfortable with what the knots are and how to tie them.
Looking at chat here, talking about radio.
We've moved on. Thanks, not in the no, I'm playing.
I'm getting the pop-ups from Discord as well, and
It's all about religious discord,
yes, it's not
which is fine.
a religious discussion as well.
A good one.
Oh, Tank's talking about Bear's company, Bear Independent. I understand now.
Oh,
That makes more sense, Tank. You could have just said that.
yeah. Nobody ever said he made sense when he talks anyway. I'm going to talk trash because he's not on the board or panel to talk back.
Going to get the ban.
Well, that or he'll pop up to refute me. I don't know. I'm hoping.
That would be awesome.
No, with my luck, I'll probably get banned.
Nah, you won't get banned.
Wouldn't be the first time, honestly.
Someone else will get banned before you would.
Is that just because I'm a pastor and you're being nice?
No.
Or do you have somebody specifically in mind? That was a
I
jab
do.
at Southpaw, wasn't
I
it?
do.
That was a jab at Southpaw. I would ban my best friend before you, Muffin Man.
No, I'm not saying I would ban him. That's not my place to do anything. Refuge Medical. Yes, that was on the interview he had.
What was that?
The Vice interview that they did with him.
Oh,
Radio Oklahoma. Not only is he a good source of intel, he's just a good inspiration to everyone. Especially being in our region, not exactly Arkansas, but he's close enough that I feel much better about what goes on in the northeast corner of your state. I'll just leave it at that.
talking about Radio Oklahoma?
Yes. Up in the Nycut area. That's
Okay,
actually that's a group that I try to keep an eye on personally.
yeah, we talked about them the other day.
Yeah.
All good things. All good things. Don't come hunt me down and skin me or anything. I hope they know I'm joking.
I don't know. I haven't ever heard of or seen any clown shoes up there, so
Oh man, we might be in trouble.
we got jokes here.
Yeah, you just got your ban, Muffin Man.
Not particularly good jokes, but we have jokes. Most
Oh,
of them are
that's
dad
harsh.
jokes.
That's harsh.
No, not you. I'm saying in general.
Uh-huh. Says the person who's friends with the guy that just mutilated my joke about the Klingons.
Well.
So have you seen some of the newer military interventions for medical?
I have not.
There's some pretty cool stuff out there. Like there's, you know what an IO is, right? An interosteal line.
Yes.
For those of you that don't, it's kind of like an IV, which would be an intravenous line. Intravenous is the needle that goes in your vein, and you use that for medications and other kinds of interventions, depending on what you need. An IO is similar, but it goes in the marrow of the bone in one of two places instead. Usually used like it's almost like a Dremel type tool with a hollow needle. Anyway, the military has one that's a little bit different because it takes a couple of minutes to install an IO. The military has one that is a triangular plastic plate with about 12 individual hypodermic needles on it. And you line that up with the collarbones and the solar plexus, and you just literally slap it, and it kind of crunches in place and penetrates the muscles, or the bones, I'm sorry, of your sternum. And you've got an active IO line that is straight into bone marrow. It's good to go. You don't have to hunt for veins or anything like that. So in combat scenarios, they're training on that instead of carrying IV lines. You slap them with that straight through their clothes and everything, and you've got active lines for your medications, your whatever your IV drugs are, your saline and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in like 2 seconds, you've got an active line and you're ready to go. And instead of wasting time hunting veins.
If someone has lost a lot of blood, Julie, pumping fluids and pushing fluids is the quickest way to keep them alive.
And ringers are better than saline in that situation.
Yes. After you stop the bleeding, you have to replenish the fluids, and that's why it would be needed. I've had to give myself an IV before, and I still hate needles. That was not fun.
I think Southpaw is pretty good at it, but I've never been stuck by anybody that's left-handed, so I don't know if I'd trust him.
I agree. This is a perfect comment. Exactly.
No, I don't want to be on the receiving end of that monstrosity of a thing, but it's just like the military to come up with something absolutely heinous but super effective.
Well, I know we had other ways of hydration when I was young, but it involved not an IV, but at least it involved the line and the bag, but it did not go through a needle.
And you could have used mud water too. You don't have to worry about E. coli in that situation.
Exactly. And gross, Julie just Julie knows what we're talking about.
I'll clean your colon out faster than a Taco Bell chimichanga. But no, in that blood loss scenario that we're talking about, where you'd need the lactated ringers and probably a tourniquet and stuff like that, there's a position that you'd want your patient to be in as well. And it's called shock position or something like that. I don't remember the actual term for it, but what it is their feet are in the air and they're laying down. Their head is going to be their lowest point because you want all of their gravity works, and you want all of the blood that you have to be at your heart and your brain.
Is that modified Trellenberg?
Yeah. I mean, it works if you want to lay them on their back and put their feet in a chair or something like that. If that's what you've got available, that'll work. But yeah, Trendelenburg is what I was trying to think of. Thank you.
Trendelenburg. Thank you. It's been a while since I've been to school. And I did not practice after.
It's been 8 years since I've been to school.
Been 7 for me.
At least we're not as old as Southpaw.
Close.
Where's he at, man? We need him on this discussion bad.
Do we?
Because he's active medical.
He is active medical. But I'm afraid that we just end up giving each other crap the whole time and not really.
Yeah, no, that's probably a good valid fear there, man. Fear of clowns, not so much. Fear of improductibility or non-productibility because of giving each other crap is valid.
Tank, I need to frame your comment. I really do.
Which one?
The 1, 2, 3, not it.
Oh yeah.
I haven't heard that in forever. Yes, that. And speaking of, I believe we have him viewing. He is commenting, it is 3 minutes without air, 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food. That's the way I was taught as well.
See, we were told 3 hours without shelter too, especially in a hostile environment like in the desert or in the Arctic.
That I could see, because you need to be away from the sun.
that's not me being there prepared, wearing the right clothes or whatever. That's if I was standing buck naked, either in the Sahara Desert or in the Arctic is where that number
Okay.
comes from.
Now that does make sense. Because
And it
clothing is a
just,
form of shelter as well.
right. It just
Okay.
means that your resistance to your environment, whatever that environment is, needs to be a concern.
3 hours without cigarettes. That is the truth, Julie.
Hey, I quit 8 years ago, man. It's more like 3 hours without coffee now.
Overall, it's okay. I actually wish I had gone. I just couldn't come up with the money on that. Not and feel good about it. I,
Had gone
I
where?
hope we can. He went to the refuge medical training tonight.
Oh, sweet. How'd it go?
He said he can't be on. He's just now leaving. But
Who
hopefully,
is he?
overall living.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe he'll bring us back some good information.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can talk about as a discussion for next week.
Hey, if he didn't take good notes, then he needs extra work duties.
Arkansas Living says 3 minutes without skeeter dope out here right now. Yep, that sounds about right.
I've got to carry you away kind.
Yeah, I've got the kind that scare my chickens.
Oh, hey, that brings up another point in preparation and even in medical is, how often do you think about ticks being a problem?
Quite often, actually.
I hope so because most people don't, and ticks are a serious problem and carry all kinds of diseases that can be absolutely life-threatening.
My my wife was actually bit and got the Rocky Mountain fever, and
Yeah.
she was on death's door by the time I convinced her to go to the hospital. And we ended up going, and it was she's still not over it, and that was years ago.
My mom got bit, and she has an alpha gal intolerance now, where she's anaphylactic allergic to the alpha gal protein, which is present in all mammalian products that did not come from an ape or a human being. So that's wool, that's lanolin, that's meat, that's milk, it's cheese,
Wow.
and she's anaphylactic allergic. A steak would kill her. Um, and that came from a tick. So that may alter your preparations too. You might have, being willing to rely on deer and squirrel and rabbit, all that kind of stuff. But what happens if you get bit by a tick and then now all of that's off the shelf?
Yeah. Someone was in the green room just a second ago, and I didn't notice it till it popped out. If you want to go back in there, I'm actually paying attention now.
We didn't mean to run you off. It's probably Tank, and he probably sat there for a hot minute.
Oh, it was. Lone Star tick allergy?
Yeah. Yeah, Lone Star tick is the one that causes the alpha gal intolerance that I was talking about.
Okay. This is something I have not read or heard anything about before tonight. Arkansas Living, you want to jump on here and have a discussion on it?
It's a pretty
Come
serious deal. I
on.
know of 6 other cases in my county.
Wow. I have some reading to do then.
For sure, man.
Come on, Arkansas Living. We don't know stuff. We want to hear it.
Yeah, man. Tank knows how much I don't know. Just ask him. Or if he'd
We
come
all
on
know
here, he'd
stuff
tell
we
you.
don't know.
Everybody knows stuff Muffin doesn't know.
Between just the viewers we have here, which is 7 or 8 of us, plus us, there's a
Mhm.
wealth of knowledge in this room from different sources.
When it's all valuable, even when it's wrong, it's valuable. Knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do.
That is true. And failure is the greatest teacher.
Yeah, but some lessons are too expensive to learn the hard
Exactly.
way.
Link is gone now. Well, let's just fix that.
Yeah, it shows you how much he really wanted you on the panel, doesn't it, Tank?
See, the deal with these live streams, there are several schools of thought also. Some people use the YouTube studio and watch the stream muted on another tab,
Hmm.
and some use, like we use StreamYard. And I think it's easier to use StreamYard than the YouTube studio.
Well, I don't think there's necessarily a wrong answer. It's like the AK or AR-15 argument. You know, it's whichever system you're comfortable with. Although we all know that the right answer is really AR-15.
I don't know. I've got a couple of them, but there's a couple other systems I like better.
Then the AR?
Well, kind of. They're similar to the AR platform, but they don't shoot rifle rounds.
Then what do they shoot?
12 gauge.
Okay. See, I like the AK's version of the 12 gauge a little bit better, the Sega,
Like a 12.
because at that point you're not talking about precision. You just want it to run and throw lead and do it every time you pull that trigger, no matter the circumstances. So I think that may be a little better application for the 12 gauge.
My litmus test, as I've learned more and more, after 100 rounds, if my shoulder's not bruised, I was not shooting the right rounds.
Well, I've got a rifle that will do it after about 6 rounds. You'll have a bruised shoulder.
Ooh, what is it?
I say rifle, it's a shotgun. I've got a H&R bolt action goose gun, 16 gauge. So it's got 5.5 foot barrel and it's bolt action. It'll do the trick, man.
My favorite is a 10 gauge, as Tank will attest and Southpaw will attest. That
I've
is
never
my
played with
new
it, man.
love. Yeah. It hits just as hard as an 8mm Mauser with a metal butt plate. Actually, harder.
It won't shoot as far as a 20 gauge.
No, it won't. Welcome, Tank. Glad you could jump on here.
Hey. Well, this is not the stream for me.
Not the stream for you. Oh, why's that?
No, I'm not the military medical person.
You're civilian, aren't you?
I don't know about that.
Well, you attempt to prep and you've got some kind of training, right?
I guess you could call it that.
Well, in that respect, the YouTube how-to video is training. So that makes your perspective valuable, in my opinion.
His
So
perspective
I got
is
all the
valuable.
training in if YouTube counts. Kind of like that Holiday Inn deal, isn't it? I slept at a Holiday Inn last night.
Yeah. Dude, I miss those commercials. Why are commercials such junk now?
I don't know. I don't watch commercials or TV.
Well, there's everything on TV such junk.
Yeah. Even Looney Tunes aren't any good anymore.
Right? I mean,
That's for sure.
somebody with a shotgun and a speech impediment is just not PC enough anymore.
Everything's got to be stupid woke. I know, shotgun and a speech impediment's my cousin, dude. That was awesome. That is relevance and culture. Anyway, I guess that's neither here nor there. Tell us about radios, Tank.
You need one. Go get them. All of them.
I know
Get
I need
all the
one.
radio.
I think we had a conversation one time about you supplying me with one for free.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Brotherly
yeah?
Love and Friendship, and he said that we weren't that good of friends or something like that.
No, I do think everybody needs to get their license and be able to use one.
Well, especially because, I mean, it's cheap. It's not like it's $400 to get your ham license.
True.
Oh,
But
to
it's
get the
$1,000
license is cheap.
equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be.
Or you drive all over the country looking for one part you can't find.
Or you see if somebody else could drive all the
Hey, I
country
got
for
it
you.
now.
because you can't.
Donna.
What was that, Tank? It broke up.
That's called being cheap. I said I've got it now, don't I?
You do.
That's called being cheap. Because the new one was $2,000 and that one was $150.
Yep.
Persistence is rewarded, my friend.
And then I sold it.
Already? Wow.
Now what are you gonna do?
They bought a better one.
I went to Little Rock the next day and got another one. Better one that I like better.
Man.
So would you be willing to give a quick class at a meeting of some sort in the near future?
Maybe a demonstration. I'm not a teacher either.
Well,
I don't really know what I am, but I'm not any of them.
you're better off than I am. You know a lot more about radios than I do. And I'd be willing to bet out of the ones here, you probably have the most, except for maybe Radio Oklahoma, who I think has stepped out. You've got more experience than all of us.
Well,
the other
that's
thing,
what
Rick,
everybody
is-
need. With radio, you need experience. Because I can tell you how to do it all day long, but when it comes time to do it, there's a lot of little things. Some frequencies work during the day, some work at night. Just stuff like that. Everybody thinks they got their bowfang, they're good to go. That bowfang's only going to talk a mile or something, maybe. I mean, yeah, you could go 20 miles to a repeater up on a hill if you're up on a hill. But, as far as I got a bowfang, you got a bowfang, maybe a mile. Couple miles, maybe.
And it depends on how much is in between you too, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the big deal. It's line of sight. If you're on a mountain and somebody else is on a mountain, you can talk however far.
So really, it's not much difference than, say, family radios that you could buy at Radio Shack when Radio Shack was around.
They're exactly the same thing. The little Walmart blister pack radios, little walkie-talkies.
So it's high power
exactly the same thing. It's just got a little more power.
Okay.
And power is not the king in radio. Antenna and height is king. Power just gets you a little more. I can go from 5 watts to 50 watts on the same antenna and not pick up just a few more miles.
So if we were able to hook up the Walmart walkie-talkie to your 30-foot radio tower that you were telling us about that you don't have set up yet, would that, after you set it up, of course, would that improve the broadcast range of the walkie-talkie too?
Oh yeah, yeah, it would work just as good as this base unit I got. I mean, almost just as good. It's not going to go quite as far because it doesn't have the power, but see, that's the deal with the walkie-talkies. That's part of the deal. Ham radios, you can have whatever antennas you want, and you can work on them and change things. The little blister pack walkie-talkies. See, that's why a Bofang, you can. Let me see how to. This is why I'm not a teacher. I don't know how to say things. Okay.
Oh, you're fine.
The Bofang will talk to that blister pack walkie-talkie, same frequency. But it's not legal because those frequencies are allotted to those radios. And those radios, the reason a Bofang you can't do it is because it's got a removable antenna. That's part of the law, The little blister pack radios can only have certain power and can't have a removable antenna and this and that.
Uh-oh.
Because then you're getting around
grabbing his radio.
Yeah. Different.
Bofang. However you
That's what makes it illegal to talk to FRS and GMRS. And the power.
Arkansas Living.
Got a little too much power.
Was that a ham or was that a Walmart walkie-talkie?
That's one of the Baofangs y'all were talking about.
Okay.
Yep.
How are you tonight?
I'm good. Just got through changing one of the raunchiest diapers I think I've ever changed.
Yours or somebody else's?
That wasn't my my little boy. I don't know what he's been eating, but it wasn't pickles. How y'all this evening?
Wonderful, you?
Fat and tired, I guess.
Fat?
Well, you know what I mean.
Man, I'll trade you body mass indexes.
Put on some weight, but it's all right above my belly button. I heard y'all talking about radios and stuff. I usually got one of A1P's radios in the truck with me, but it's in the house.
Yeah, we kind of miss him now that he's done up and left.
He's a Yankee now.
I know.
I was going to ask him after he gets up there for a little while if they start calling him a damn Johnny Rib or something.
Muffin Man, you know who that is too.
Do I?
You do.
Okay. I'm just going to take your word for it.
That's the difference between chat and YouTube. We all have different names everywhere.
Well, I didn't hear the screen name that was given.
It's A1P.
Amendment 1 preparedness.
Oh, okay.
Pastor Muppet.
Yeah.
Is the one that moved or is Arkansas Living?
No, A1P did.
Okay.
3 for 3.
We got all his names out there now.
No, I'm sure he's got at least one or two others that were not listed.
Well, technically, his first name is on his email on his website, I'm pretty sure.
It is.
Oh, yeah, it is.
His home address is listed on his website too, but I didn't say anything.
Not anymore.
Oh, is it not?
I don't think so. Y'all was talking
he changed it.
that tick deal. Y'all was talking about spotted ticks. Well, it was just today or yesterday. I was catching up on a couple of Ice Age Farmers videos. One that he had just put out. I guess I should have copied the link before I come in StreamYard. But one that he had just put out a few days ago had it had to do. He was, how he does some news articles, and a lot of times he'll share the video that's on the news article or whatever.
Right.
Well, it was a guy on there at one of these committees where they were talking about climate change and all this different kind of stuff, I guess I need to be careful what I say, because they keep demonetizing my videos, and I usually don't talk a whole bunch of that stuff.
I got to looking at mine the other day, and I had like 3 of them had hits on them for copyrights, and I got all my music from YouTube.
What? I don't even care if they demonetize one of them, except for not as many people is going to see it, you know?
Yeah.
Do you need to change yours to Arkansas politically correct living?
Something. But anyway, there was this dude on one of these committees, and I can't remember the name of the committee or whatever. I think he had links to all of it, but he was talking about that spotted tick fever or whatever you call it, where it makes you where you can't eat meat and stuff. That protein.
Yeah.
Allergic.
Lone Star tick fever.
Well, yeah, and that guy was talking about that. He directly referenced that. They're talking about wanting to make people smaller and to make them eat less protein. And it's actually a human engineering thing that they're trying to figure out ways to do it. They're trying to figure out ways to make people not want meat and stuff. And they're talking about wanting to make the general population, the average size of the population, to be smaller like it was 100 years ago or more.
Wow.
Well, last I checked, being 6'3" and 300 pounds means that most people don't want to get in my way or fool with me.
Everybody picks on me. It don't make no difference how big I am, I don't think.
It's the beard.
It's the beard. You sound like my
wife. Your wife is awful deep voice.
Don't let her hear you say that. She's just in the house right there.
You're the one that said it.
No, my wife, she's a sweet lady, but she sure does want me to cut my beard back off again. I feel like I'm 2 years old every time I cut it off.
If you're like the rest of us, you're pretty blessed and highly favored by the wife that you were granted by God.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Well, let me get off here a minute. I got a possum in the apple tree I got to go get rid of.
Well, they fry pretty good, just so you know, Tank.
Later, man.
Well, hold on. It might work that far.
Oh, you're going to give us a video. All right. I wanted to get kicked off of YouTube tonight.
What would get you kicked off YouTube?
Him shooting the possum live.
That's a how-to video, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, here
Hey,
we go. He is going to ban me tonight.
Uh-oh.
Just for the wrong place.
You know,
Use a bow, so it's not a firearm video.
well, I can make videos all day long with one riding in the truck seat next to me, but if I pick it up, they turn me off.
Oh, he's a big one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could feed 2 people with that one, Tank.
Yeah.
I couldn't see it. I can't see Havoc either. He's just sitting up there hourglass.
Hourglass.
Oh, he's got that hourglass figure.
Yeah. Just in my face.
I can't see anybody's faces. All I can see is y'all. I feel like I'm up here by myself.
Well, I've got my camera turned
That
off
better?
for the moment.
Oh, nope. I want to look there.
No, it's almost like it's something on the screen card on my end or something.
Got a connection issue?
No,
Probably.
but I'm doing it on my phone too.
You're always doing it
So
on your
am I.
phone.
Not all the time.
Yeah, you know, the beginning of the month, when his download speed is still good, that's when he's on his internet. And then after the live stream, if it's anything like me, your download speed's junk again because it's all gone.
Well, see, I'm still on that unlimited plan from Alltel about 12 years ago. I'm not even on the new unlimited plan, so mine don't get choked down or nothing.
Well, around here, Alltel just done told all, and all we have is satellite.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bunch of junk.
Here I am complaining about Gigablast.
I don't even know what that is. It sounds nasty.
That's
It
an
is.
STD.
It is. Cox puts it out, if that says anything.
You are gonna get kicked off the internet.
Oh man.
I don't know what it is about an apple tree, but possums love them.
I like apples too. Cut them up and dip them in peanut butter.
What?
Yeah, apples. Slice your apple and dip it in peanut butter.
No.
Dude,
No.
don't knock it till you try it.
Wow. Maybe if you dip the apple slice in the peanut butter and then in some honey, maybe then.
Just straight peanut butter, man. Honey ruins things.
I don't know about all that.
I'm playing. Honey's great, but dude, peanut butter is wonderful, and it keeps nearly forever on the shelf. It's great.
I love peanut butter, but I would never put one on an apple. I would not defile one that way.
Oh heck yeah, man! I'll put peanut butter on almost everything. Peanut butter and banana sandwich.
You know, we've got another friend that you need to meet on a different channel. He loves peanut butter too.
I'll eat it straight out of the can, man.
We used to eat peanut butter on celery sticks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know
That's
if
the only way you can eat celery.
You put a couple of raisins on it too, and it's pretty good.
I don't know about them raisins on it.
Yeah, you
I'm
just
from
screwed up
Washington
there.
State, dude. Don't hold it against me.
I was kind of wondering what was up.
I got right with God and moved to Arkansas.
Well,
Overall, what are you yakking over? Oh, that was like 3 minutes ago. Never mind.
Peanut butter.
Oh, okay.
I finished that build that you helped me with, Havoc.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw the one progress picture. I really liked it.
I haven't employed it yet, but it's nice.
I know that one was kind of picky when I had it. Just fair
Well,
warning.
we'll just see. That may have been. I mean, feed ramps come with the upper, so we'll see if this is any better.
Okay. I know once I switched out, things improved on my end, but I did have other work done too. So.
Well, I can polish it if need be. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
I need to put a couple more together, I guess.
Yeah.
That's about my favorite thing to do is playing with adult Legos.
I need some projectiles for the Legos.
You know, that sounded kind of bad when I said adult Legos.
Yeah. They're easy to find here, but they like their dinero. Yeah.
My local Lego store has them in 1,000-piece boxes.
Yeah, for how much?
They're about 70 cents around or a piece.
I went through Magnolia the other day. They were $1 around for $8.55.
Yeah. I can't do it. I ain't doing that. That's just too much.
I'm starting to wonder if I don't need to do it anyway.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
do. I drop a little bit here and there. I like capitalism instead of communism, and that's what capitalism is. So
Yeah.
I figure I'll support it.
Well, I'd rather pay for it and gripe about it, I guess, than I would not have the opportunity to pay and gripe about it.
Amen.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I mean, if the government's going to spend my money and give it to everybody else, then I might as well spend some too, right?
Yeah. Especially when it's free.
Yeah, no, somebody's paying for it.
Oh yeah, we're all going to pay for it. So are our kids, our grandkids.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. My kids was going to pay for it.
Well, that's kind of what made me curious about this whole big medical push, right? Is if it was all about saving lives, then why aren't we providing tuberculosis, cancer, and diabetes treatments for free?
Because it doesn't make money. I still think there's someone making a gob of money somewhere on this.
There almost has to be, and it may be the pharmaceutical companies. I don't know.
That shot's cheap. I mean, they're not making any money on that, and then it's once or twice. I mean, Tylenol makes a whole lot more money.
Well, when was the last time that you saw Tylenol be so politicized that anybody who doesn't take it's automatically evil and enemies of the state?
I agree.
Anyway, sorry
Tank.
I started that one.
No. I agree with Tank. Tylenol is going to make more money than what the cost of the shot is. But with all of the money that's been poured into the marketing and push, everything else, I mean, just in money alone on the screen time it has.
Yeah.
There's something there that, right. It's
That's
not,
what got everybody so wigged out about it.
yeah. I mean, it's like Bloomberg when he was running for office. You couldn't turn anywhere on the internet, TV, radio, anything without hearing the word Bloomberg.
Yeah. And we weren't even in New York.
Exactly.
Maybe think about, as a human being, we can only absorb on average, a certain amount of outside knowledge at a time. And if you stay saturated with what they're telling you, you ain't got room to be looking at anything else.
Well, I mean, it's your responsibility to not take anything for face value and do your homework. No matter who's telling you what, that's your responsibility is to do your homework on the matter. I mean, I could tell you all day long that the sky was green, that elephants don't really have ears, and trees grow from the leaves down, but it's your responsibility to look it up and find out what's true.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
unless you're a teacher.
I was watching.
It's still your responsibility. You've got more responsibility as a teacher to ensure that what you're hearing is true, because you're not the only person that's hearing it.
If the teacher's teaching that, then the students are doing their responsibility and learning the wrong crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't allow you to go outside of the classroom to learn.
Well, sometimes stewardship and studiousness are two different things, and we get too caught up on being a good student that we forget about being a good steward of our lives.
A good point.
Yep.
Before you start spreading knowledge and stuff like that around, you're supposed to have the wisdom and discernment. You don't necessarily need to know everything, but you need to know how to weigh it through before you start trying to teach it to somebody else.
Too many teachers now.
One thing to have knowledge, it's another thing to know how to use that knowledge.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. And a good teacher is going to say, this is how I was taught to do it, and this is how I do it, but there are more ways to do it.
Well, especially going back to the, medical and training and things like that, I'm sure all of us to some extent have taken some kind of a, first aid class or what have you. And there was the book answer as far as this is what the test is asking for. And then there was an entirely different thing, and that was, this is how you actually do it in practice, because it's a little bit different.
Here, quick poll. How do you do CPR?
Oh man. Do you want my answer, my book answer from 8 years ago? Or do you want
That's
the
what I'm
Arkansas
saying.
Heart answer from 3 years
Everybody
ago?
in here will have
You
a
want
different answer.
Yeah, it depends on if you were taught by the Red Cross, the AHA.
Yeah.
They both have different methods.
When I first took CPR when I was in high school, it was 5 compressions to 2 breaths. In EMT school, it was 30 compressions to 2 breaths. About 6 years after that, the Arkansas Heart Association said, you know what, those breaths aren't really doing much, and you've created enough of a vacuum when you let off that you don't have to breathe, just compress. And then they're saying now that they want 1 breath. So I don't know. It depends on what you're doing. But I think as long as you're getting proper perfusion and actually doing a proper compression, then breaths are kind of less important than moving the blood around.
See, they told us, you know, I mean, they started going to the compressions only, but they still give you the mouth pump.
Right.
Yeah, when you pass the class, they give you the mouthpiece.
Well, you done licked it. I mean, you expect them to take it home and wash it?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Information is getting rough anymore. You can find any answer you want to find researching something.
Every time I stand at the grocery store, they got books up there that still say Elvis was sighted in Vegas or something.
Well, and that brings into question credibility. You know, how credible is your information as far as what you learned, where you learned it, and your source? You know, because there's times where, you know, that's why we say Arkansas Heart or Red Cross, you know, where CPR is concerned. Because if Tim Johnson down the street is the one teaching CPR and he doesn't have those accreditation or values, then you might not know that working on an adult or an older person, that you're going to break a rib or 2, or possibly even all of them doing compressions, and that working on a child or an infant, you're not going to break anything. You know, and I can tell you right now that doing CPR on a dummy is entirely different than doing it on a person. Entirely different. It's not.
Yeah, even the different dummies, on 2 or 3 different dummies, they're all different. You know, they give you that one plastic one they did at work. And I think it was like a Red Cross or something, and it was just like I could set a Coke can on it and compress it. And then we did one for, I think, in Boy Scouts, and it was actually, I'm going to say, closer to what it would be like, because you actually had to push to get his eyes to light up on that one.
Well, and that's the thing, is what they don't tell you is your first 2 to 5 compressions are going to be different than all the rest of them. Especially if you're dealing with an adult or older patient, because you're going to have some resistance there, and you're going to feel some popping and breaking. Understand that that's going to happen. All right, there's no way around it. But once you're freed up, for lack of a better term, then you're good to go, and it's all kind of smooth sailing after that. It's the same. There's no more difference or differentiation. I know that's kind of gross. I'm sorry, guys.
It is what it is. But that's the same thing like the tourniquet. You know, you were taught 4 to 5 hours before you start losing limbs. Barry and them are teaching. Don't quote me on this, because I've just, what I've heard from him is like 12 to 15 hours before you have to worry about it.
Well, I mean, and that's getting them to a hospital too. You know, in a shift scenario, it's going to be a little bit different than what you're able to save and what a hospital is able to save. So, I mean, what we were taught 4 and 5 hours, you know, you're starting to lose fingers, you're starting to lose parts of that appendage. You know, he may be saying that 15 hours is when the whole appendage is gone. But it is something to be aware of. You know, a tourniquet is not a final answer if you're looking to save the limb.
There's a big gap there. That's something I worry about a lot. You know, most of the first aid classes are teaching you how to get somebody to a hospital.
Right.
You know, what if, you know, when the zombies attack and eat all the people at the hospital, then what?
Well,
where's that training at?
Well,
Old Tommy
hopefully
that got
you
clipped
have
in the
a
Memorial
mash
is out of luck.
unit.
That's the
Arkansas
training
Living,
I would like to go to.
But no, you're right. We do need to get some training that is a little bit more, has some longevity to it, not just nearest treating facility.
and maybe find a standardized method for that, because as there is right now, there's not one outside of the
Right.
wilderness.
It's you know, it's just like the tampon thing. That's
Yeah.
the guys I talk to are like, no, no, no. And then half the people are yes, yes, yes.
Well, and that's I mean, everybody's gonna have an opinion on something, but the ultimate goal is the same, is stopping the bleed and seeing if we can address it. When ultimately, depending on where your issue is at and what's going on, you may not be able to have an intervention at that time. Like, say you've got an upper thoracic penetration, and there's bubbles coming out of it, or you can hear a whistle in that area. You're not going to pack that wound at all. You know, you're going to put a seal on it, whether it's a Snickers wrapper or a prepackaged chest seal. You're going to put a seal on it because that's a sucking chest wound, and he's got a pneumothorax.
They actually, some cop actually did that the other day with a chip bag. Saved somebody.
It works, dude. Or if you've got a Mylar blanket, dude, that works great too. You just cut a little chunk off of that, and it makes a perfect chest seal. Tape it down on 3 sides, leave the side open to gravity open, and you're good to go.
I keep Ziplocs and stretch trash bags in my med kit just for that.
I've got chest seals in mine.
I've got my Curlex wrappers because the inside of that wrapper is still sterile.
Chest seals are cheap.
Yeah. Not always
That's
easy
true.
to find, though. And even if you have a medical spouse, that doesn't bring equipment.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
Overall Living saying no, no, no.
So what?
All right. What are we saying no on?
Yeah, he would know more. He better know more. He better
Is
have a
he saying no
notebook.
to the Snickers wrapper?
I bet it's the tampon.
Does he know he's muted?
Arkansas Living muted himself.
Yeah, I think I'm echoing, ain't I?
There was a
No.
lot of background noise coming through.
I thought maybe I closed YouTube and stuff. I thought maybe I was echoing it. It usually don't echo on my phone. I just got to be careful about that on my laptop.
It sounded like a robot. You know how when people robot, but it was movement.
I got you.
It's not bad.
No.
A bunch of
So what are we doing wrong?
Overall Living, what are we doing wrong? Or what are we thinking wrong?
He'll know more about the time too, since he just did the class.
What were you saying no to, amigo?
He better be coming back teaching us a bunch of stuff.
That's what I'm saying. If he didn't take good notes, he's got extra work duties. I'll tell you what.
Well, guys, I'm fixing to. I'm gonna jump off here. I got to get up at 5.
So he's not going to tell us.
Arkansas Living, would you be up for a meet around Hot Springs, or what was the other one, Muffin Man?
What's that?
The meeting place that everyone's possibly discussing.
Oh, we talked about Benton, Hot Springs, or around Mina for alternatives to the range in Conway, because they're a little more lax on the rules. But the problem with the Benton range is you've got to be a member.
Arkansas Living, would that be anything you'd be interested in?
Yeah, just shoot me an email ahead of time, like last time. And if I'm around where I can make it, I'll sure try.
Okay.
Well, those are all ranges that are greater than 500 yards. We may go with a lesser range. I don't know yet.
Redneck
I'm gonna have to
Prepper
lean
saying
back
Hot
with that
Springs
22.
Arena. What's that?
We shooting 500 yards. I'm gonna have to lean back with a 22.
Yeah, that slingshot's going to be hard to get out that far with those Legos.
Well, I've got a bow I thought about bringing. It's more primitive style, but it's interesting. You shoot off your hand instead of a rest, and you slide off the arrow, so that might be something good to play with.
Interesting. Why you got both the livings on the bottom? What's up?
Well,
That's
we can
because
mix it up here, I think. How does this work? I'm new to this. I don't know nothing.
So tell us about it. Overall living.
How bad is this? Is it really bad?
It's doable.
Yeah, I can't hear y'all. I'm trying to talk. I get it.
You sound like you're in a
Tell
can.
us what we're doing wrong.
I was saying no about the tampon thing.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So let me ask this. What if it's a limb? I understand a chest or abdomen, but if it's a through and through on a limb, would that not work as long as you know there's not arterial bleeding?
What they're saying tonight was that just about everything is tourniquet. And, of course, the whole training is based on getting to, greater care.
Right?
That's the same thing my guy said. If you tourniquet anything on the limb that you can, if you can't tourniquet, you pack it. If it's got air going, you seal it.
Right.
right.
That's
So
pretty
they're
much
advocating-
the sense of this training as well.
They're advocating tourniquet if you can, or pack it if you can, and then tourniquet everything else.
Tourniquet the limbs. Anything you can tourniquet, you tourniquet. Anything you can't tourniquet, you pack.
Well, that's only if you got a bleed that you can't control any other way, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, you're not going to tourniquet a paper cut.
I'm just making sure, man. I mean, the EMT book is pretty specific about not applying a tourniquet to a jugular IV. I mean, somebody's done it, so I think we need to be kind of clear,
Well, that's what I'm saying. On a limb, anything that you can tourniquet, meaning if it's shoulder down, hip down, you tourniquet. Anything from I guess hip to neck, you pack, and then anything in the chest area that's bubbling or has air movement, you seal. But that's one of those deals. I hate saying stuff like that because I don't know for sure. That's just what I've been told.
Well, and the other thing is it's wholly situational. I mean, there's going to be situations that alter circumstances entirely. There's always the exception to the rule. But knowing what the general rules are is always a good idea.
Right. But in the ultimate goal of saving a life, those three things would make sense logically.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum of gray there that would also work, but those would definitely work. They might be more intrusive than needed in some cases, but yeah.
Right. And there's definitely excuse me, some methods that are going to work better than others. But in lieu of a Band-Aid, duct tape works pretty good. So, if your ideal methodology is not available, then you're going to have to improvise and Army Corps of Engineers engineer it a little bit.
Well, yeah. But my point is, I'm not putting a tampon in my IFAC. I'm putting packing gauze.
And if you have that,
Right,
that's
and you can get
it's going to be
packing
the better
gauze
way.
pretty cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, my point in packing tampon in the IFAC was not necessarily for to replace packing gauze. It is that it's a multi-use item. Which if you watch that whole video that I shared on the Discord, you'll find that it is a multi-use item. It's more than just for wound pack. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with it. But it's, you know, not my go-to for wound pack. But if that's what I'm down to, that's what I'm down to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you've already run out of wound pack, I mean, it's better than nothing. But in that kind of case, I could see the tourniquet use on a limb.
Yeah.
So my training suggests that when you run out of packing stuff, you start peeling clothes and making strips.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not going back to BOL or hospital or whatever naked. So we're going to be picky about whose clothes I strip.
I'll go naked.
You can always pull a sleeve off.
That wouldn't bother me a bit if I used it to save somebody.
Oh, it would bother me if you showed up naked.
I'm sure it would bother a lot of people, but it wouldn't bother me. And I'm the one making that decision, so that's made.
Yeah. Great point.
Stuff my drawers in the hole in your chest or whatever.
As long as it's not your underdrawers or your socks, we're okay.
Hey, you got to use what you got to use, man.
Oh,
Y'all
man.
Y'all talking about going to a gun range. Y'all talking about going to a gun range and stuff. I don't wear underwear in the summertime, so y'all keep that in mind if y'all start cutting stuff off. I'll see you guys later, man. I enjoyed talking to y'all. I'm gonna have to get off here.
All right. Nice to meet you. Have a good
man.
Y'all have a good one.
Have a good night, Julie. Everybody else muted?
Hey, what was that about?
No, he was just the one making all the racket.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to be quiet. I know there's going to be a whole lot of background noise.
Not as much as the Rosewood, Arkansas living.
Yeah, I was fixing to say it's definitely doable.
Yeah, we can hear just a slight hiss. I guess highway sound on yours overall. And I didn't throw this up there earlier,
I could
but
probably do away with that if I probably get rid of that if I slowed down to the speed limit.
We'll have none of that here.
Yeah, I'm definitely for MENA. There's a couple of ranges around here that we can use for free. And one of them is a 500-yard range. At least so I've been told.
Who's the one wanting to shoot 500 yards anyway?
I just thought a little bit of a long distance competition would be fun. See who could put 2 rounds on a target at 500 yards.
I wouldn't mind, but all my Legos are still in pieces. I haven't built the set yet.
You know that Mauser is just fine and sitting in your closet, and you've got a whole bunch of seeds to plant with it.
I still need one important part for that, and I need to go to the hardware store.
Me behind it?
No. You don't know how to use mine, I swear.
I don't know.
Lone Wolf not going to MENA? Oh, no. Oh, wait.
Probably too far for the kid.
I keep thinking the other wolf. I keep thinking Wolfson every time I see that.
Lone Wolf saying he can't go to MENA? I'm telling you, dude, that warrant in Polk County is, we can work around that.
By the way, I do plan on doing a challenge video for everyone in the network and the state. We got merch now and want to do some giveaways. We even got a nice stainless bottle to give away.
I like the challenge videos. Those are fun.
I like free stuff.
Yeah, just so long as there ain't no shooting.
As long as there ain't no what?
As long as there ain't no shooting, there ain't no gun guy.
Okay,
We'll teach you.
that's fine. I wouldn't do that as a challenge anyway because there's all kinds of skills and there's a lot of people better than I am. But
And then there's
anyway.
some people that think they're better too, but have yet to prove it. Left-handed guy.
Who's watching and sending me texts and calling my phone the whole time?
Well, then he needs
You're going to
jump
try to
in.
get on the stream. Get on the stream. Don't call the phone.
Is he working?
All right. Probably.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
On what?
Thank you.
Thank you. What a win.
Right? Is it free stuff?
I almost did an OPSEC fail. Overall, what's
That's
going
a hard
on?
one.
Oh, I don't mind. Everybody knows who I am.
I don't.
Yeah, you do.
Do I?
You do. We all talk.
Well, then I
Everybody
don't
on
know
this
that I
panel.
know you.
Overall, hadn't been on much lately, though.
What's his Discord handle?
Yeah, we had a long conversation about religion.
Oh! Overall is Fred.
No,
No. Overall is Badger?
No.
Dang.
That's what I
Overall,
hate.
it's Hobie.
There you go.
Is who?
Hobie.
Toby. I don't know a Toby.
with an H.
Oh, Hobie. Yeah, I know Hobie. I think.
You do.
I mean, not like personally. He hadn't taken me fishing yet.
Well, neither is Fred, but
Yeah,
you
I'm
can't
kind of
get him
salty
up
about
here.
that.
He didn't take me fishing this time either, and I'm kind of pissy about it.
Me too, man.
I keep telling y'all, I'll go fishing with you if I. Who?
I said, technically, Tank took me fishing last week.
Well, like I said, you didn't
He
take me.
told me where to go. Well, I apologize. I would love for you to have been there. I might have caught something besides catfish.
I don't know. Them catfish is hard to. They're aggravating sometimes.
I got catfished once.
That last day we were there, the June grass was so bad, we didn't even finish. We ended up throwing out like half a pound of shrimp.
Nice.
Man, shrimp. Where did you go?
We've been down fishing down the ocean.
Well, thanks for the invite.
Okay, next time y'all can all come. I don't mind.
People
It's
frown
funny
when
how
I
you
bring
run
mine.
into down there.
A lot of people go.
We took our kids on a little kind of long weekend vacation. we got to watching some guys fishing in the ocean. I was like, hey, I know a fella. So, of course, we went and spent some money, bought some rods and stuff. We didn't catch none but catfish. That was my big joke. We drove 8, 9 hours to just catch catfish.
People frazzle.
That's the way it goes sometimes. But you got the stuff for next time now. You ain't got to spend no money.
Right.
Oh yeah, I ain't gonna go back without my gear now.
There you go. That's what we do. When we go down there, we fish the whole time. I mean, that's all we do down there, fish.
Well, as far as our event goes coming up, I can put something on the smoker, the day before or so if you guys want.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind grilling burgers either.
Yeah, we can have some of Havoc's mommy burgers.
I need to check when that's going to come in too.
Yeah, good luck with that. The way the mail's been going.
Yeah, but now you're making me hungry thinking about umami burgers.
I'm eating pizza at the moment.
Had salmon tonight.
Oh,
We try to do that at least once a month.
yeah, man.
But
The
yeah,
other thing I want to do. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, people don't like it when I bring my fishing equipment because I don't do the rod and reel thing. If I'm going to
I like
fish,
it.
I'm going to catch.
I like it when you bring your fishing equipment as long as it's not electrical. When you use the other kind, it's great.
Yeah, I'm not patient enough to sit there waiting on something to bite.
So you're
But I don't think
like
you
a
can-
percussion fisher?
No, I don't waste powder for that, but electric's cheap.
Y'all can fish downstream from it somewhere.
I think percussion fishing's legal in Alabama.
It's legal everywhere. You don't get caught, isn't it?
Yeah, kind
I
of like
don't know if
electric.
that makes it legal.
You got to get caught to break the law, I think.
Yeah, I think that's how it's written.
It's like the difference between ethics and morals. Ethics depend on society, and morals are right and wrong all the time.
That's a good point. Oh, here's Lone Wolf. I hope it's Lone Wolf. I don't see a picture.
Maybe it's some kid that hacked his server.
Lone Wolf, that better be you.
It may be.
All right.
It is.
I always get nervous when people show up in the back end and you don't
Oh,
have
yeah?
video. Because if I click that link and then somebody shows up butt naked, I got to kill the whole thing.
YouTube TOS can be kind of.
Wow.
I mean, not that it's going to hurt. We've got 4 people watching and 5 up on the panel. So it's not going to hurt a whole lot if that happens.
It
So
might bring some views.
it
No.
might.
Depending on who it is, I will report it.
Tell Badger get in here. He might as well. He ain't got nothing else to do.
Him and that
Badger
left-handed
here?
feller too.
Is Badger even here?
He was in the chat earlier. I don't know. I can't see the chat now.
Me neither. Oh wait, I can. I just forgot. I got it.
I didn't see Badger. Oh, where'd
So
Jake
Lone
go?
Wolf, why are you not going to Mina? I know some guys. We can take care of that warrant, dude.
I ain't wanted anywhere.
Well, why are you not going to Mina then?
It's just too far of a drive for me.
Well, it's not really Mina. It's Pine Ridge.
And I don't know anything really out there, and I kind of only go to places where I know where to get out of.
Where you know to get what?
Get out of.
Okay.
Like
Well,
I
you're not
know
going to
I
learn
know
if you
the
don't
area,
go.
I know the roads around, stuff like that.
Right.
He gets lost easily.
So meet somebody and ride with them.
Yeah, somebody you trust.
I don't know what zone you're in, or I could suggest somebody.
I could probably pick him up if I can go, which that's always a big if.
Yeah, I forgot what zone it is already.
You're going. Don't even play that game.
So did you film your flat tire? You fixing your flat tire? Because that would have made a good video for somebody.
Yeah, but
No, because that was kind of a really stressful moment.
well, that's all the more reason to film it. There's a
Because
bunch of people that don't know what they're doing.
oh, that I know. I mean, I know people that can't change a tire, much less plug one.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did a video on plugging a tire.
You need to do it on all jump starting, changing oil. Be useful. Somebody.
Well, there you go. You're the one trying to get your channel going. Get going.
Yeah.
I would have if I still had my old car. This one now, it's kind of too new to go in and start poking and prodding things.
Nah. Lick your fingers first.
So, how'd the plug hold?
So far, it's doing good. I've
Good
checked
deal.
it periodically to see if it's still holding air, but hasn't gone down yet.
That's
I've run them plugs a long time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm still running one that we put in about 6 months ago, to be honest with you.
I've run one till wires. I mean, till the tire was just bald.
I throw dry rot tires. I mean, it's when you got what you got, you use it.
Yep.
That's the other thing about prepping too that a lot of people don't understand is they want to be high class, and there's no room for that in preparation type society.
Yeah, it's not all bug out bags and years of freeze-dried food. It's having jumper cables, flashlights, blankets, stuff like that. It's a whole thing.
And about 200 pounds of baling wire.
Yeah.
And zip ties.
Yeah, zip ties. That's the high class baling wire.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Arkansas living
high
past
speed baling wire.
Yeah, high speed.
Tactical.
Tactical baling wire. Especially got the big thick white ones.
Yeah. Arkansas living past 2 videos he's done past couple days has been that kind of first world problem. People worried about running out of a certain brand and things like that. And prepping, I mean, brand is a good thing on a tool or something you're going to have to use over and over again, and it's something you can rely on. As far as food and things like that, yeah, some brands are important to get while you can, but don't rely on just the one brand. And he made that point, and I never really looked at it because I've never been a brand kind of person. I use what works,
Right.
It's like I'm sure y'all do, but I didn't think about actually in our community focusing on I have to have this particular. And in a shift scenario, we may not even get toilet paper, much less our favorite brand.
Yeah, had that scare last year, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean,
How many of us were down to using single ply?
yeah, buy some brown rags. They're reusable.
Or, worst case scenario, the shower is 3 feet from you. Step in there.
Yeah.
Or you can steal from a gas station.
Was there a toilet paper shortage
there's
that I
gas
didn't hear
station.
about?
I didn't
Lone
have
Wolf,
one.
we do not advocate looting.
No.
I mean, usually they got that one roll that's just sitting in there in the bathroom, and maybe it doesn't stay there.
It just meant go use their facilities instead of yours.
Pretty much.
You can keep that toilet paper. I'll use my own.
Right? I've seen leaves that work better than that toilet paper.
No
Yeah.
doubt.
I mean, during all of this, we never ran out of toilet paper, but I did go buy some brown washcloths just in case, and they're
Yeah.
stored in their own Ziploc bags. If they had to be used, they could be used, washed, dried, put back in another Ziploc bag.
Hey, that's something I've done. I've canned rags.
Canned them?
Yep.
Really?
Like when I got an extra spot and then in a canner, don't have enough whatever I'm canning to make a full batch.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times I'll just do a can of water, but I put a couple rags in some, so you get a sterile wet rag.
Nice. That's a good idea.
They look kind of funny sitting on the shelf.
What vegetable is that? How old is that? Why is it fuzzy?
I'll be y'all canning pickles this year, or are you done with that? Or is he still here?
He's here.
Yeah.
No, we didn't plan any because we did 124, I think, last year. So we let the cucumber slide this year.
I figured.
Man, there's only so much toilet paper and pickles you can give away before people don't like gifts anymore.
You giving away toilet paper? Hold on now.
I did when they were the shortage.
I'm not gonna lie, we had to take some to a couple people too.
Tank, have you ever canned watermelon?
No, I ain't never done watermelon.
I'm kind of
I've
interested.
made, you can make jelly
Okay, yeah.
or, a preserve type thing. But other than that, I don't know that you would want to. You can can anything, but whether you want to or not.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out. I mean, other than giving some away, I have way too many watermelons coming in than we'll ever use.
Cut the heart out, eat it, and throw it away.
Or target practice.
Yeah. I mean, my chickens would love them too, but.
Yeah, I was going to say chickens will like it.
Yeah.
Or hogs if you got them.
Not yet. I'm waiting on a breeding pair from another person in our server. Some coons.
Waiting on Fred as usual.
So Lone Wolf, if not Mina, you think Hot Springs would be better?
I can possibly do Hot Springs.
Okay.
I mean, I've been down that way before, so I know, I-30 to 270 and all that. I know that.
Mina's on that road I went on the other day, isn't it? Where I met you, Havoc.
No, it's far south of me.
So it's closer to Hot Springs then.
Yeah.
Okay.
About about the same latitude.
In between them two interstates, I guess.
Yeah, I can't think of how you went through. Did you follow 40?
I think it was 40. That's what I was sitting here trying to think. I don't remember the number. It was that main road that went up through there, though. That is a nice highway right there.
Yeah, they try to keep 40 pretty nice until you get into Little Rock.
It was a whole lot better than 30.
Yeah, 30 turns south, doesn't it? What's that overall?
There's a bunch of construction on 40 right now.
Yeah, but even with that, it's not bad. Or it wasn't another day. There was like 2 or 3 construction places, and we never even slowed down, really.
Yeah, construction around mile marker 24.
Yeah, I got rerouted through little towns along the way there today on the way down.
Oh, boy. Well, that wasn't there the other day.
So you had to take exit 20 and then go to exit 24, didn't you?
I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, I came through.
Redneck, I agree with you 100%. I haven't been to Mina in a long time, but I went to Hot Springs not too long ago, and I can't say I was impressed.
Last time I went to Mina, we were doing a Kiyomachi Trail in my Jeep. That was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Well, guys, I think I'm about out of talking.
Yep. I need to get to bed.
Y'all have anything else you'd like to talk about? Lone Wolf. Well, we kind of deviated from the military and law enforcement but the training was in different ways. But I still think we did pretty good tonight. I enjoyed speaking with y'all, whether here or in chat, and hope we can keep doing this.
It's always fun. Sorry it took so long to get on. I didn't know if they're working the car.
It's working great as far as I'm concerned. You're not roboting at all. So how'd the training go? I did mean to ask that.
It's all right. I say all right. It was good.
Was it worth the $350?
Sorry?
Was it worth the $350? Because that's what I kept waffling on.
You know, probably yeah, because I learned things that, you know, I didn't know, basically. And if it's my life, my wife's life, my daughter's life, absolutely is worth $350. I know that's a concept.
How much of it did you know already, though?
I think I could have got away with about 50% of it that I knew, maybe more. You know, trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
If you didn't know it, I'm sure it would be worth it.
Yeah.
It could be learned. You know, I don't know of a video that would cover everything. And most of it is stuff that I have seen and have heard before. They cover some of it in CPR training, you know, stuff like that. But there were things that were hands-on that really make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, like check your pulse after you run after you put your tourniquet on. Then you turn it to the guy beside you that just quote unquote got shot. You make sure you put it on good enough for him. Check his pulse. Make sure. Those are things that a lot of people at home aren't going to do that don't know how to do. In my opinion.
Okay.
You know, not your average Joe. You know, packing a wound. We talked about the tampon thing. Tampon's not going to do what the packing the wound is designed to do. And they kind of went through that exact scenario, which is why I was like, you know, before I might have said yeah. Now I know better.
Okay. Well, that's good information.
Yeah, I got my little, you know, they give you a little kit to take home with you. And we went through chest deals, which I've been through chest deals before, and there wasn't nothing really new there. Good stories, but they, you know, chest deals are chest deals. They work one way, and you gotta burp them unless they're vented. You know all that. I mean, it's a good. I enjoyed it. Plus, you know, I know all those guys, so they're all basically family. So there was an extra aspect there for me.
Yeah.
I would like to go to one of their bigger, more advanced classes.
I think I'm dead set on going to their level 3. They're actually going to do active shooter scenarios, you know, shoot each other wherever you get shot. You're supposed to fix the wound. It sounds like a blast. You know, it's training, but it's also, you know, got that edge of fun.
Yeah.
And that was the main reason. I mean, I say the main reason. I needed to know the information that I learned tonight, but I also want to do the level 3, and you got to have a minimum of level 1 to go to level 3.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm thinking about going on.
And I wanted to do the level 2 because it's an 8-hour deal. But honestly, if you can do level 3 with level 1 training, it's 4 hours. You know, basically the crash course. Like I said, most of it I already knew, but I did learn some stuff tonight. So I'm looking forward to level 3. I think that's going to be fun.
Good deal.
Which one are you planning on going to, or have they got one close to us yet?
I don't know if they've even set a date, to be honest. If they have, I missed it. But I'll let you guys know. Heck, we'd all go have a good time. Another thing that I was going to mention, I don't know if it's something you're interested in, but they also claim that they'll do a group setting, but we would have to we would have to gather a group and see who was all willing to get in on it.
Yeah, from what I understand, as long as you can come up with the numbers of people, that's guaranteed they'll come do it.
Right.
Of course, we can't get a get together anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what they're talking going fishing together. I missed that somewhere. But we didn't ever get our camping trip together in the winter, so I don't know.
Yeah.
We just need to set a date, and whoever can go, can go.
Yeah.
So that's my deal. Y'all just plan it on y'all schedules, because I don't know mine till the day before most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier for me to say, hey, I need this day off than to kind of plan my schedule. But yeah, the training was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I don't care for it being so late this time, middle of the week, but I mean, I'll be home in another hour or so. It's not that bad.
You just be up here talking with us anyway.
I got to go the other way, the other energy plant. Oh, you're talking about tonight? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I thought you tried tomorrow.
No.
So is 9 o'clock good for everyone? I tried 7 last week and it was a ghost town in here. Welcome back, Muffin Man.
That's a deal, you know. You can't go by my schedule because it changes every week, and then could change more often than that.
Yeah.
So that's just whatever's y'all.
It just depends on where I'm at. Like last week, I was in a hotel room. It didn't matter. If I'm at home, my wife don't want to sit beside me while I'm having all night. So, you know, she'd be having a fit right now. It's 11 o'clock. You still up?
Yeah. Wives keeping husbands in line since dawn of time. Well, not quite.
Glad I ain't got to worry about that yet.
Well,
You'll figure it out.
yeah. Matter of time.
You ain't gonna listen to nothing we tell you. You'll figure it out, though.
Yeah, Wednesday nights seem to be problematic. If I were to do it on a weekend, everybody's out and about, nobody'd be here. Wednesday nights, normally church. So that brings up the question, when is the best time? And I understand, Tank, yours is hit and miss on any time we schedule. Tuesdays are my nights that I can't really do much of anything. Mondays, Thursdays, I know Sundays are out of the question. And then we'll overlap Friday or Saturday with a lot of the bigger channels like Bear Independent and things like that. So I guess it's just going to be when we have them, kind of like our meetings.
That'd probably be the deal. Just start having them whenever you get time, and let it sort itself out. You know, if you have one and everybody shows up, mark that down on your calendar, and if you have one that nobody shows up, mark that down. Figure it out at some point.
Yeah, that's the beauty of, the information age and everything. Anybody can get a notification at the drop of a dime. I mean, they'll see it. If they're free, they can watch.
Right.
And it worked. Apparently, it works pretty good on sale. I mean, so it's not like you have to be. I mean, well, I guess you probably have to be at a computer, but
Right. To do the StreamYard thing, to get everybody up on panel, yeah.
yeah.
I'm sure there's a way to do it on phone, but it's nightmare enough on a computer with 2 screens. I'm used to 4 screens, and I actually do all of this from an 8x12 shed, if that helps. That way I'm not keeping everyone awake at night.
Sounds like a movie I've watched before.
Well, it sounds like to me like you do it whenever you want to, and whoever gets on, gets on.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Well, hey, I'm gonna get off here. I think I gotta go find another possum. Looks like I just seen an apple fall.
All right. You take
Y'all have
care.
a good one.
Stay safe. Happy
Later.
prepping. Lone Wolf, have a good night. Stay safe, sir.
You too.
Have a good night, everyone.